Hey, it's Drybear. When there was a tease going out for the next Ultimate Descendant potentially to be Luna, I've been messing around over the last couple weeks with a Luna build just to kind of get a sense of where she's at right now. And also she's got some major buff options with not only how the game works with some of the reworks and the hotfixes as well, but also with the addition of one of the new external component sets has made her incredibly strong. And since I've been using Luna in my background footage for other TFT videos, I've been asked relentlessly for people, they want to know what my Luna build is. So today I'm just going to walk you through my Luna build. It doesn't mean it is the best one in the world, it's just mine, and there you go. So this is how to build her to get the most out of her, especially for mobbing. I don't really have a support setup or anything like that. This is going to be Noise Surge Luna for that build. So this is just in response to people that have been asking for the build and want to use it either wholesale or as a reference. So I've modified my old build sheet that I had for TFDs. This is the full build for anyone who wanted. If you just wanted to know what the build is, then you can just kind of take this and go. I'll leave this here for you, and I'll leave it down below in the comments and description as well if you wanted to use it as a reference. This has the modules. There isn't really any weapons you can use. There's some minor adjustments you could make with the weapon if you wanted to make a more unique weapon build, but realistically, her best damage output with Noise Surge is just going to be her abilities. So just continuing to do the mini game for her is going to be the highest damage upside. So you don't really need to shoot anything. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to scale anything. So don't worry about weapons. I'm going to leave that blank for this one, but this is the arcade tuning, the external components with stats, the set that you're using, the reactor, the inversion reinforcement, and then all of the modules as well. And unfortunately for this one, I think you do actually need to fully catalyze it. I don't think you can get away with not doing so in this particular case. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Luna doesn't still have problems. There are definitely some usability things around Luna, like when you're inside of her song, you can't actually pick up objective items like bombs that you use to destroy objectives or things like that, or use panels, like go up and actually hack commands on a panel to do an objective. You also can't even use your weapon, which means that in some cases where you're up against an arcade shield or something like that, like Void Vessel, for example, or the hard special ops, you have to cancel your song, pull out a weapon, shoot it, bring your song back up. So there's, hopefully if they do a Ultimate Luna, they've mentioned that when they do ultimates for characters that don't have them, they will reevaluate the character, polish up the character, and do it. And there's a ton about Luna that I wish they would just make better, like they would make it a little bit more straightforward. However, with the previous hotfixes over the last month or so, and the addition of the Enlightened Mage set, she can do some ridiculous damage. Like basically in the last month or so, Luna's damage has gone up by like 250%. Like I'm not kidding. It's over a 2x multiplier on what she does, and so you can very easily pulse in large AoE 1 to 2 million damage and just do her song and do very effective edit as well, which is the gameplay you've been seeing in the background of my videos. So let's walk through the entire kit and how it functions. We're going to start at the bottom at the very basic. We'll go through kind of like how these skills come together, and we'll work our way up to the top, and that way we're not leaving anyone behind that has never played Luna before. And I know a lot of people that like look at Luna, some people are overwhelmed with how she is, how she plays, and how it functions. But I think, you know, once you actually understand how everything works for her, this build is incredibly powerful and very fun to play once you get into the groove. Okay, so here we are in the test room. Let's show off what Luna can do. The very premise of this, right, so if you can see right off the bat, our 4 abilities, my second, third, and fourth don't do anything right now. So if I were to just press them, you can see I'm pressing these buttons, nothing's happening. That's because you need to be performing in order for these to trigger. So basically her whole kit is centered around her performing and doing her song activity. So all you have to do is you probably press her first ability, which on PC is Q for me at least. We activate it, and now we're entered into the performance state. And this is when she starts wiggling, jiggling, doing all that stuff, and then notes will start appearing in the center of the screen. Your goal is to, when you see that giant diamond appear, as long as a note is inside of that giant diamond, when you activate, it should count, and it gives you that bonus there. So your goal is to use any one of the 3 songs in order to trigger those. If you use the first one, it is red. You'll notice that anything that glows red for her turns red for her. So C, or her second ability, is her red song or red note. If you press V, it is the blue note, and if you press Z, it is the purple note. And that will be kind of building up there. In order for Noise Surge to work, anytime you hit a note, it will pulse damage in an AoE to targets around you. So all you have to do is hit those notes, and it's just going to start pumping damage everywhere. If you fill up your special resource, your unique resource, which is the rainbow colors underneath your mana bar, the next time you activate your ability, it will be an enhanced skill. And several things happen when you trigger an enhanced skill. So you'll just be playing songs, doing the notes, building it up. And again, you don't really need to use your weapon here. If you wanted to, you could shoot and do damage this way, but it's less than the ability in this build anyway, so you don't really have to worry about it. When you have an enhanced skill ready, when you use the next note, she will enter into her special performance. She'll jump on a platform, so we'll activate this. She gets a movement speed increase, and she'll pulse very quickly, doing damage in an area, and it will reset her special resource. So you can see I'm down to 0 again. So we're gonna start pumping, we're building it up again, we're working towards our enhanced song, and we're hitting all those notes, and then we go straight into this dance here to do damage in AoE, and then it resets again. There's 2 other effects that happen when you use an enhanced skill here that are mega important. And that is, it will reset your shields and it will reset your mana. So realistically, as long as you're hitting notes, you just need enough mana to be able to hit the notes. You see I'm consuming mana now. If I do this, as long as I have enough max mana to be able to go into my enhanced skill, it will refill my entire mana bar. So you just need enough MP recovery and enough max MP to be able to do that consistently, and maybe an extra little bit of wiggle room. And we will run things like max mana on this build just to be able to maintain that in many ways. And she does get some minor scaling with max mana as well. So we're just gonna be pumping this, doing these songs, and we just wanna make sure we get enough there. But again, it does help with your shields as well, and we will run shields with this build to give you a little extra tank, but this is the core of it, is you're walking through and doing this. So that is the core gameplay. However, with this build specifically, you'll notice that around my hips, there are these 3 colored stars floating around me. There's a purple one, a red one, and a blue one. And those denote the different notes that you have for each one. The red note, the blue note, and the purple note. And when it comes to skills here, very important. Each one of the notes for this will grant a stacking buff. So the next thing you need to know about is the passive from these notes as well. So if you look at the very bottom of the skill list here, you'll see Largo. Each one of these notes, red, blue, and purple, they each have their own stacking buff. So every time you hit that note, it will give you a stack of the related buff and stack up to 13 times. So for the red note, it will give you a stack of Largo. Each stack gives you 2% skill critical hit rate up to 13 stacks, which is 26% skill crit rate. And as long as you're playing notes, you will be able to refresh this buff and keep it active the entire time. Same thing goes for blue. So blue gives you crescendo. This is 26% skill critical hit damage. So if you max out her Largo, 26% skill crit, max out her crescendo, 26% skill crit damage, and her last one is Forte, which is 26% skill power modifier. So you are heavily rewarded for getting into song and then rotating between the notes to get those buffs. Now, you can do this however you want. I've been playing Luna a bunch, and for me, I just rotate between them. So I'll do ZCV, 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 right? And you can see on my buff bar, those 3 buffs are stacking up. If you hit it on an enhanced skill, you'll get more value out of it, but you're basically just trying to make sure that you refresh all of those buffs. So what I see a lot of times with people that when they're playing Luna, and this might be a revelation for some players that are watching, is if you only did one note, like if I only did purple, right? Only that buff is going to stack. You can see that my blue and red are about to fall off. Now those buffs are gone. I've lost those. If I only ever do purple or if I only ever do red, I'm missing out on those buff stacks that we're getting from those as well. So we want to be able to stack up those extra buffs and get those extra damage bonuses from those. So we rotate through the notes and that sort of thing. Now, the next thing to know from that is she isn't really dependent on many stats. It's a very safe, straightforward build stack. And what I mean by that is as long as you don't miss any notes, you have no cooldowns. Nothing triggers. If you don't miss a single note, cooldown is meaningless to you. And that's why we're able to run things like maximize power, which is more skill power modifier than any other module in the game, but it increases your cooldown. Maximize skill, more skill power than any other module in the game, but it increases your skill cooldown. We don't really care about that because if we miss a note, or if we don't ever miss a note, nothing ever happens. We never have a cooldown. We can just keep pumping and we can scale up crazy amounts of damage from this as well. However, it is possible, and it does happen without practice, where if you don't have a note on screen, if I press this, boom, I just failed. My Z, or my third note, just went on cooldown. It's not the end of the world. You can still use, like if you wanted to, you can still pump one note over and over. You're still going to do a bunch of damage. You're just going to lose the stacks you have of the buff that you can't use, so it will go on cooldown for a while. So while you're playing, you may have to like switch to doing 2 notes instead of 3 until that last one comes back off cooldown. Now we can go back to stacking it back up again. But again, I think it is worth it just to get the maximum damage, because then all you're doing is you're just walking around hitting notes, doing ridiculous damage all over your screen, and just focusing on that, and gives you the movement speed from it as well. And as long as you're just doing this, you can even do it between combat. Your notes will fall off either if they time out or if you exit combat for too long. But even between like mob packs, if you're just hitting notes like this and just running around, you're just pulsing damage, you'll keep the stacks, you'll keep the buffs, and you'll just keep pulsing lots of damage all over the place. Now, because she gets so much skill crit chance and skill crit damage, right? So like if I actually go through and I stack up all my buffs here we go, we're getting real close. There's the full stack. If we go here and we go here, you notice that I have 91% crit rate and 4.78 crit damage scaling. Ridiculous. That means I have almost perfect crit rate, and I have almost a 5x skill damage multiplier when I crit. It's ridiculous. Like, it's actually so much freaking damage and scaling from this that as long as you have those notes going, you're good to go. So crit is definitely the way to go for Luna, so we don't want to get those extra ones. We just want raw power. And from that, I like getting Spear and Shield for a little bit of power from that. Maximize power, maximize skill. We want 3 of the 4 crit damage modules: emergency measures, front lines, and skill concentration. Because we get our own crit rate and it gets pretty high, we're actually in the realm of like just almost having perfect crit anyway. So I would not run the crit rate modules like other than like emergency measures and front lines. Like these 2 is enough, which opens up that 4th one. And then you want to get a maximum range, which you can get with skill expansion and amplification control. And again, remember, we went over a little bit of the max shield because we reset it when we hit our enhanced note or enhanced skill from that front. Max MP helps a lot with being able to maintain our notes and also gives a little bit of scaling on that front as well. Then we slap noise surge on it and we're good to go, and that's the build there. Next, we're going to be running with the brand new Enlightened Mage set, which is bonkers. The 2 set on this gives a skill power scaler of 6% for the 2 set, and then for the 4 set, anytime you use a non-attribute skill, which is all of your skills, you stack up a buff called Truth, which lasts 15 seconds. At 3 stacks, you get a non-attribute skill power modifier of 84%. It is ridiculously strong. So remember, this is one, so you actually can see it when we hit notes. So I have no buffs right now other than my inversion there. When I hit this, you'll notice that we stack it up. Now we have 3 stacks of it. You can't refresh it, so if you keep hitting it, as soon as this passive Truth triggers, it'll run its whole duration and you'll have to use 3 again. But because we're pumping so many non-attribute skills, we can get a full stack of Truth in literally like a second or a second and a half, and we're right back to it. So our power scales even more off of that on top of the skill damage we already have. So you're just pumping. It's super cool, and it gives you that flexibility there. So I think this is easily her best choice. For stats, like I said, I don't actually have a perfect roll on this one here, but you're just going to want to get a shield, because it resets, MP recovery, max MP, as well as HP, and then I would do MP recovery in combat on here, which I have on my sheet. Next up is the Reactor, and I tried a whole bunch of different moderations here. You actually do get some minor, so if we look at the skills here real quick, so the passive is tech. When you have noise surge on, everything else is singular. And surprisingly enough, even though the song is tech, you actually do get some minor tech scaling. Like, as long as you have tech, it will give you a power increase from that standpoint, but it's not as good as singular since all of your notes are singular, and it just scales better in general. So for Reactor, we're going with non-attribute singular, and then for the stats, we want crit damage and singular. So more power, power overwhelming is we want for the Luna, and then because we have near perfect crit chance, we just want crit damage, which is a overall scalar for the damage output that we have. So we want non-attribute singular Reactor with skill crit damage and singular power on this as well, along with the Enlightened set. And then you're just going to be walking around doing the power pump like that. Now, again, keep in mind, while you're in the song, some things are blocked for you. Like, you can actually do some pretty decent damage if you use the unique weapon, and even if you do some scaling on the unique weapon, you can do some extra bit there. But because unique weapons don't scale with weapon cores, there isn't really super much reason to run a specific weapon with this. And again, you can run ammo if you want. The damage is decent. But again, I feel like it's basically weaker than just doing skills, even on single target, because she does so much freaking damage on that front. And unfortunately, things like movement speed and stuff from cores don't apply to her when she's in her song either. So like I have a weapon like that's just a stat stick for movement speed. It doesn't work during her song, like while her song is up. So none of that matters either, unless hopefully they do some kind of overhauls for her when she's actually has her ultimate form. But from that, all you're gonna have to do, like honestly, when I'm playing Luna, I'm just looking at the middle of my screen, using my periphery to judge where to go, and just pumping song notes. And this just stacks up all my damage, and then we just start pumping damage. Everything dies in an area around you. And even for like single target on some like champion level bosses or commander level bosses, all you have to do is just hit the notes and hit the song. Use the movement speed from this to go around and move. You can luckily grapple while you are here, just not when you're on your platform. So if you hit the enhance skill and you're on your platform, you won't be able to grapple. And again, there are some objective things that you'll have to like pick up an item or a special unique weapon. In order to do that, you do have to cancel your song, lose all your note buffs, do your weapon, wait for the cooldown, get your song back up again. And if you're lucky, you might be able to refresh the buffs, though usually not. It's a very momentum based build. So if they can fix some of those minor things, I feel like Luna would actually be one of the best mobbers in the game. Her damage is ridiculous. She has crazy scaling right now, which is pretty cool. So more or less, that is the Luna build and how to play it. It has some minor downsides that they could very easily fix if they decided and kind of put things together. But I find it super fun. And like, again, because of the changes they made, plus the new external set, Luna's damage is actually busted. So this is for the people that have been asking me for the Luna build. And this is the sheet as well for the full build if you wanted to use it for reference or just take it wholesale with everything listed there. So there you go. As promised, the Luna build posted. Let me know what you think, or if you have any tips and tricks for other Luna players in the comments down below, and what your predictions are for potentially getting an ultimate Luna in the near future. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.